And welcome back to another week of The Take. I'm Bill Gannon.
I'm John Spinato.
Aaron Simmons.
And I'm Ozzie Gooding.
Ozzie Gooding. We're here tonight with Ozzie. Ozzie's going to join us. He came here tonight. If you could tell us a little about yourself, Ozzie.
Well, I'm a UConn graduate. I graduated a couple of years ago. My degree was in resource economics. My concentration was marketing and management. I got a minor in business administration, so I'm currently working on job opportunities with that. And then I wanted to segue into journalism, so I'm working on getting in that field. Last year, I volunteered for Connecticut Public Broadcasting Network. That went well. I just finished a training program with radio, WYBC to be exact, and Yale was affiliated with them. And I finished that, and then I'll have a show coming out called Shameless, and I'll be co-hosting it with Kayla and Joy. So that's on the rise, you know, for this semester. And then I also applied to a few schools for journalism because I want to get my master's. I got in the Columbia University, Syracuse as well, university. So right now I'm just sort of taking it all in and deciding where I want to go, if I want to defer my admissions until next year, and I'll be starting a job soon as well. So all of that's going to come into play. So I have a lot on my plate, and I'm just taking it all in, and I'm going to make the right choice for me.
Busy young man.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. So, yeah, well, we're happy to have you on here, and I know you'll add to the show and bring some interesting points probably. So, probably not as interesting as this guy over here sometimes, but
you never know.
You never know.
That's
Yeah,
a character, I heard.
Yeah, that's what it is. So you know, maybe the two end caps could be, you know, the comic, the end caps
there you
here,
go.
and the comedy on the
it.
end, and then the end caps over here.
The deadpanners
But
in
yeah,
the
no, so you can jump in, and I don't know even what to start with tonight. We have so much to start, like
It's
talking about
crazy.
everything.
It's crazy. Everything's happening at once, like popcorn flying out of a pop can.
Now, being a UConn grad, I guess we could start with UConn. I know the men kind of didn't make it this year. And how was it at Storrs up there with the basketball? Is it?
You know, everyone was disappointed.
Yeah.
We're used to winning. Like, we're the Huskies.
Yeah, the
and
Huskies, yeah.
It was very disappointing not to win. So, you know, the mood was somber up there. But, you know, it happens. You can't win every time. I know we're the greatest, you know. But
it is. No, it is. But I think you enjoy the wins. If you kept winning and kept winning, because you saw that with UCLA, I think everybody kind of expected it year after year that they won. But the men, I think, I like the direction that Kevin Ollie's bringing them. I like where he's taking them.
Exactly.
He's a Calhoun disciple, so he's kind of one of those kids. I think that last year was their run. This year, I think they have some definitely pieces to build with, and I think they'll get out there and they're gonna they'll make another run pretty soon. So that's just the way it is. But
exactly,
you know, it's like, but I think you see the women and you see how dominant they could be for decades, and it's like, wow, it's crazy how they come and they go, and they just don't seem to leave. I mean, they're right there every year. So whether they win or lose, but
But don't forget, the men gave us a thrill still.
they did.
The last 3 games.
Exactly.
4 games. You get that little feeling in your stomach. You're like, here it comes again.
But I think that's the coaching, and that's what Kevin Ollie will bring.
Exactly.
He could take somebody that's a little less than probably a Kentucky or a team that's, you know, dominant, and just his spirit. He's going to bring him to that next level, and he gets him to win somehow or some way.
There is some talent there, too, though.
Yeah, they do. That Purvis kid was unbable. He was.
He likes to play SMU.
Oh, that kid.
Well, he did good against SMU all year long.
He did.
About 23, 25 points a game against them.
His career games are both against SMU.
Exactly.
That's true. Yeah, he had the two high-scoring games.
Boatwright was sticking out there, starting to become you felt the Kemba, you felt a little bit of
he was definitely leading the pack.
Napier was there. You're like, they're starting to use those names with him. All of a sudden, like, well, don't go that far, but he was bringing that thrill.
Well, he did hit that shot the first, was it Friday night? Was it Friday night when he hit that?
Yeah, he stepped back and he nailed it
like
just like
Pittsburgh
Kemba did.
stepped back against Pitt.
Absolutely.
I remember that, in the Garden. Yeah, that was, it was exciting, like Aaron said. It could have been a lot more. You always wondered where it was during the year. If it happened during the year, they might not have had such a tough road to get there. They would have had to win 4 games. They would have just had to win 3. And they would have been in the tournament. They probably would have had a good enough schedule or a good enough record to actually get into the tournament.
Yeah.
But you know, that's the way it goes. You can't, like Ozzie said, you can't win every year.
Yeah.
No, can't win
And
every
it
year.
was a good comeback that they made from the second to last game. You know, when they were behind like 14 points, I believe. Don't quote me.
Yeah.
And then they came back to win the game. So.
Well, that's
you know.
true, because when you're coming out and nobody expected them to even get into the tournament, this was the only chance was to
Right, that
win
was
this,
their only
you know,
door,
this semi-tournament here. If they won that, then they were getting in, but nobody expected them to, and just for them to kind of
Yeah.
get to that last game, I
Sure.
thought was ask the business owners of Hartford how they did, because everybody went and supported UConn, because
Exactly.
that's what we
yeah.
always do. So
Yeah.
yeah. And what you're talking about Hartford, I guess today what the Rockcats are going to be now the Yard Goats.
Yard goats.
They're the Yard
Yeah,
Goats
yeah,
up
yeah.
there. So
The worst name
yeah.
of the bunch. That's
Oh
the worst
my
name of
gosh.
the bunch.
I thought the Hedgehogs would have been a little
Way
better.
better.
Yeah.
At
Something.
least had an H in it.
Exactly.
Right,
Goats.
yeah,
Hartford,
they-
yeah, Hartford Hedgehogs. I guess
I
so.
mean,
more
Mudcats
memorable.
or something
I
like
mean,
that's
yard
good.
birds or whatever, yard goats is going to be tough to remember.
I'm not even going to go to one game because of that name. I just started to like the Rockcats. I mean, I was going to those games. It was nice in New Britain. I used to enjoy it. They had good food there.
They did. They
They,
actually.
Yeah,
they, had,
that was a
they had a
nice
kid come
setup.
up to bat. He played Ted Nugent when he get up there, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
See, now they
Stranglehold.
lost the fan.
Oh yeah.
And now they changed the name, and now that it's gone.
I don't know who the guy was, but
Yard Goats.
this one guy had Michael Jackson puppets. And, it was,
Oh, there you go.
and he danced with them. But there was four. There was two in the front and two in the back, and he was in the middle. But it was like a puppet, and they would all do the same moves. But it's pretty cool during halftime at the. But the Rockcats always put on a good show. They put on. You know,
Fireworks,
fireworks
always
after
good stuff, yeah.
certain ones.
Yeah.
They put on. They had this guy with the Michael Jackson. He was pretty cool, and it just would be fun for the family. So it was a nice show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun for the family, like
That's-
riding in the minivan. Would you say there's Michael Jackson puppets, 2 in the front, 2 in the rear?
Maybe.
Well, the minivan has 2 in the front, 5 in the rear.
Thinking like Ozzie did the show with that one.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I got that sticker on the back of my caravan too.
Do you?
I swear, I'm not kidding. It's pretty funny.
Great. Yeah.
And I have the shocker on there too.
No.
But the shocker's in the skull, and then next to the shocker is the fist.
God. That's oh, the show went in a different angle tonight so fast. It usually takes a
What are
while.
you talking about?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So it's usually different, but this is what Aaron's antics are all about.
That's right.
No. Oh man. So journalism's one of your passions, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I want to become an entertainment journalist. I love entertainment. I keep up with all of that, what's going on with the Kardashians. I know people hate the Kardashians. I love them. Kim's hot. I love Kim.
Yeah.
And just the whole family dynamic is very interesting, and the way they used her sex tape
Yeah.
to increase their fame.
Kind of catapulted to the next level.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Exactly. It was just
Well, that's how
awesome.
Paris Hilton did hers. I mean, you really didn't know who Paris Hilton was until her tapes came out, and then it was like, so you have that. The Kardashians. What do you think of Bruce, by the way? Or I don't know, what is it, Beatrice now? I don't know what his name is.
They call me Bruce.
You know,
They call me Bruce.
from what I gather, people who are transgender feel like they were born in the opposite body. You know, they feel like they're the opposite gender. So, you know, more power to them if that's who he want to become, like a woman.
Right.
You know, you
They're
got to
gonna
live
change
life
the
the
name.
way you want to.
They're
Yeah.
going to change the name to transgender.
That's right. That's a good one. The way you said
That is
Jenner,
pretty good.
I sensed that. Yeah.
Now, did you follow did you watch the Oscars?
Briefly,
Yeah.
not too much. I didn't think Neil Patrick Harrison was a great host. I thought he was kind of corny. That's just my opinion. You know.
I know he had some bad timing with some jokes, where people were kind of upset with that. That's
Yeah.
what I heard about some of the jokes that he did. What did you think about? I know American Sniper. I saw the movie. I thought it was an excellent movie. I don't know if you saw that or.
I actually did not watch it, but I heard about the trial and how the guy who I guess killed his friend or
Yes.
a fellow soldier,
Yeah.
had a lot of psychological issues, and I think that's a problem as well, because you know a lot of people they come from overseas because they're fighting in the war, and they have PTS, post-traumatic stress,
Yeah.
and they don't get the help that they need. And it goes unchecked, and then you have people who fly off the handle and commit like egregious acts because of it. So. You know.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
I just thought that should have done a little better. I know it won one award, but I thought the acting was great. I thought the directing was great. I know Birdman was kind of one of the heavy favorites going into it. That one didn't even get the Best Picture. No, it did get Best Picture. It didn't get Best Actor with Michael Keaton, because Michael Keaton was supposed to get Best Actor.
Right,
And I remember he was pulling out his acceptance speech, and then he was like, "Oh, I didn't win." You know, it's kind of weird. So it's kind of tough. It's kind of tough on Michael with that. So that was one of the things with the Oscars and everything like that. So, big Kardashian fan. Do you watch it a lot?
Yes, I actually do. I watched the Kardashians. I just watched the new episode that premiered Sunday where Kim was trying to get pregnant.
Oh, okay.
To have her second baby, because they have Northwest.
Yeah.
What a name, Northwest. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's something about them. It's very entertaining. They're fascinating because they keep you entertained, and I think a lot of people can't captivate an audience attention.
Right.
And entertainment is all about that. It's all about ratings. Like, not to get off topic, but Empire.
Right.
It's
Down
like
tonight.
America new sensation. Yes.
2 hours.
I haven't watched much of it, but from what I've watched, it's pretty good. And the ratings have steadily been, dramatically increasing, I should say, over the past few weeks. They started out, I believe, with 9.9 million viewers, and now it's at about 14.3 million viewers. And the cast was actually doing their whole circuit, like press circuit, giving their interviews, and you really got a chance to get to know them a little bit better. And one of the guys, he goes by Yaz. That's the guy who wants to be the rapper.
Okay.
He's actually wants to pursue a career in the music industry, and he was talking about how he, I guess he met Lee Daniels. I'm not quite sure how it all came about, but he auditioned for the part. They knew he was a rapper. They was like, I think you would be great for this role as an actor. And he was hesitant to take the role because he was like, I just want to stick to rapping. He was saying how his mother encouraged him, and she was like, well, you could do more than one thing, and you can use this as a platform then to get into the music industry, and branch out like a lot of people do. And that's just what all entertainment's about. Ariana Grande is a perfect example as well.
Yeah.
She was an actress for a number of years, played on Disney.
Well, Jennifer Lopez, I think she did Selena.
She was a dancer first.
Yeah, she was a dancer, and she kind of Paula Abdul was a Lakers girl. So I mean, you see these people that are kind of some form of, like you say, in entertainment, and all of a sudden they kind of springboard themselves into another. Dennis Leary. He was
Sean Williams was SW1.
Who's that? That's it. Yeah, no, that is true though. You see a lot of these actors and actresses, and they take roles and acting and then kind of branch off. I think the only one that really didn't do good was Shaquille O'Neal with his rapping.
He did actually. Foosh Nichols was pretty good.
Was it?
Go back and listen to it. You'll be really entertained.
I don't know. I didn't really
I'll
see it.
laugh.
That
That'll
would
be
take
entertainment.
That was
He was
it,
such a badass basketball player that you had to go back to what it really was. But when his little project and some of the guys he had with him was actually some good talent. I liked it.
You liked it?
Yeah, I didn't throw it away. Now, Kardashians, on the other hand, when I'm going through the channels and I see Kardashians on TV, right off.
I bet you like that tape, man.
I never saw it.
Never saw it either. Yeah.
Never
see
saw
the
tape?
No.
Well, I shouldn't say
I'm not a
saw
big
that
Kim,
because I would have been like underage at the time. So
yeah.
No, I didn't. It was later.
Yeah, it came to you later on.
Yeah.
All those tapes, going back to Pam and Tommy Lee, that's their own private stuff. You leave that stuff alone,
Yeah, but I think Pam and Tommy Lee put that up on themselves.
I don't know what it was.
I don't know. I think that one was a little bit.
Too? You think
I think
Kardashians
all of them did it.
Yeah,
I don't
all
know. That was funny with T-Bone, though. When he was driving his car, he went... That was funny.
I didn't even see that.
T-Bone is Tommy Lee.
I didn't even see it. No.
Hey, speaking of sex tapes, sex tapes, I don't know if you guys watch Love and Hip Hop. You guys probably don't.
I do, and that's another one right away.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing with Mimi and Nico. Oh,
except I liked what I used to have Nas on there.
I don't watch a lot of the. I don't watch a lot of reality TV because I just think that it doesn't. It's really not true anymore. I think they kind of stretched it.
No,
I remember when Ozzie
so
did it.
fake.
When
no.
Ozzie,
all of it, all the shows, even like
Ozzie
Turtle
was
Man,
good?
anything.
Well, Turtle
it
Man,
doesn't
yeah.
matter. No, if it's about Duck Dynasty or hip hop, whatever it's about, it's all fake as hell now. Everything.
Oh, yeah. No,
Because
I
everybody
mean,
knows they're on
stage.
TV. That you can tell they're almost reading off a card and they're reciting.
the one
what
I
they're
don't
supposed to say.
understand is Finding Bigfoot.
That's the
How is
worst
this
of all of
still-
I
it.
haven't watched that.
How is this still out there after 4 years? You
Yeah.
haven't even found a
That's
hair,
another one.
a print, nothing.
No,
Anybody
Finding
wants it?
Bigfoot.
Yeah.
When I hear it or see it, it's so
Yeah.
bad. It's so bad. Do you hear that? Did you hear that?
But I can say
Wait, listen.
No.
Behind you.
And it-
You get your infrared glasses on.
Yeah, but and then you hear knocking, and they're knocking on the trees, and they're making these like howls or whatever.
No,
These-
it's-
they're making these howls for these.
Is it really
Bigfoot.
4 years of that crap already?
I think it's going on 5.
Oh,
It's yeah, and I was like, after the first one, if you didn't catch it,
I know.
I could say maybe it was an impulse watch in the first year, but all of a sudden, now, 4 years
Now
later,
go back to the
Finding
same
is
fake,
over.
original fake pictures, original fake tracks, original fake foot mold.
those were real.
Goodness.
They should change the name
It
to
looks real.
trying,
They did look
trying
real.
to find
Listen, I
Bigfoot.
used to live out in the places where there was stuff like that, and there has been times when you're driving your car and you see something go across the road in 2 steps, you're like, did you just see that? But then when you're out hunting later, and if you get a moose or something, you realize the moose is taller than a horse.
Yeah.
It's real easy to mistake something like that. You only saw 2 legs, but it was a 8-foot moose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
8 foot tall. It was probably 9 feet long.
Didn't one time somebody said they saw Bigfoot, but it was your prom date?
No, that was Aunt Bunny. Goonie Goo Goo. Remember that?
No.
Freddie Murphy?
No.
You don't remember Aunt Bunny?
No.
Aunt Bunny got a mustache.
Oh.
Kiss you, Aunt Bunny.
Was that raw or
And
was
the
that
kid used to
delirious?
cry.
Was that raw or delirious?
That was comedian. That was like back in the first one.
Kind of
When
it.
Eddie was first taken off.
Eddie was awesome.
Yeah.
I miss Eddie.
Eddie Murphy?
Yeah.
Aunt Bunny was
Eddie
really
was
funny.
Eddie was he was awesome.
His career, it's kind of dwindled now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do have to go back to the first
years.
tapes though. Go back and put on like even on YouTube, look up Eddie's original Eddie Murphy comedian, Eddie Murphy Delirious, and just watch those.
Oh, delirious and raw were
It,
hilarious.
it was all up to date with the time, so you'd hear stuff about like Ronald Reagan getting shot and the Pope getting shot and stuff like that. So he's talking about like 1981, 82.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was funny when he did the Pope. He said, he goes, the Pope went to Brooklyn. he stuck out of the limo and he goes, Dominus Ominous, and he took off.
That would be hilarious if the Pope did.
Oh.
Isn't that crazy that year they shot John Lennon, Reagan, and the Pope all in the same like span?
Yeah.
Like, why are people shooting everybody's favorite, no matter if you're
That's what
Italian at church or if you're, out listening to classic music or
Yeah.
the best president we ever had?
Well, wasn't
he was kind of a
Bill.
clown. No, when I say
Yeah.
best president,
I'll tell you one
I was a
thing.
little kid, and
Okay.
Reagan was like the whipped hair, and he was just a puppet, really, is
Okay.
what he was. But to me, that was, there was still like, affairs going on in other countries and missile crisis and all that stuff. But it seemed like the funniest because we had a clown president rather than someone scummy like Bush who actually is responsible for trying to shoot Reagan.
You think Bush shoot
Did
Reagan?
you know that Bush's kid was like, one of his sons was really good friends with John Hinckley Jr. and plus he was in the CIA and all that crap. I didn't want to get into conspiracies. I just learned all this stuff and I was like, really? I didn't know that.
Poor Ronald.
Well,
I liked him. He was my favorite president too. I mean, he ended the Cold War. He everything. He came into, pretty much after Carter. We had pretty
Real
much the same
bad.
deficits
Yeah.
as everything, and he turned everything around. So it's one of those guys. I love Ronald Reagan. I can't.
maybe it's because MTV came out and I was just 10 years old, so it was a great time in my life.
It was a great time. The 80s were
Yeah.
a great time.
Yeah.
I don't know. The 80s were
memorable.
pretty good. So.
See, I don't know.
You don't know? You
That's
missed
why
it.
you gotta go back and research Eddie
Yeah.
Murphy's
Eddie
early
Murphy
stuff.
back in
You'll
the
love
day,
it.
yeah.
You'll love it.
Even him when he was on Saturday Night Live.
Oh
He
man,
had some of the best
when he
skits.
did buckwheat
Oh, yeah.
stuff.
He's-
Looking for love. Looking for love.
Was it Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Remember we stole the drum set?
Eddie. Oh,
That was
yeah,
a
it
good
was
one.
classic.
I when he did Little Richard. Remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
And he had a problem with SNL. They didn't like him.
Yeah,
They didn't-
something, when
Oh,
they,
it was-
what'd you think about that? I don't know if you caught that. When they
I
came out, they
didn't
didn't even have him
catch it.
tell a joke.
I heard a
Yeah.
little bit about it.
It was one
It
of
was
the
like a week or so ago, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah,
40th.
they did the 40th
Yeah, 40th anniversary.
Yeah.
See it? Did you watch it?
I didn't watch the
I
whole
caught
thing.
it, and I was so glad I did. It was great.
Yeah.
Because you got to see, Chevy Chase up there. It showed all the people that died that, came through there from Belushi to Gilda Radner. But when Eddie came out, just for that minute, you realize of all the stars they were just showing, and we're talking
Major stars.
mid-'70s
Yeah.
all the way up until now. And then like guys like Jim Carrey, who should have been, a big part of it, but weren't. But they showed his auditions and stuff.
Yeah.
When Eddie came out, though, you knew like that was the biggest one, the most successful one of all time from that
all of
show.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I mean,
Yeah.
Chevy Chase could be, but I
He
thought,
was, but he kind of fizzled.
but he didn't have the charisma outside of.
No.
Because Chevy never really was a fan. I mean, it wasn't like a public figure where Eddie would go out and talk, and
Yeah.
of course Eddie would be
But
with
his
models and
stand-up
everything
was-
else.
stand-up
He
was
was
his
funny.
spotlight.
Yeah, he did everything.
He was like
Whereas-
Richard Pryor up there, because that was like his idol, and he pulled it off.
I thought he was better than Richard Pryor. I mean, I
Nah,
love
I
Richard
can't say
Pryor.
that either.
Nah, I love
If
Richard
you go
Pryor.
back to what Richard was doing before there was a Richard Pryor, that was all something big and new.
Well, no,
Yeah.
he
And Eddie
Red
came
Fox.
from, trust me, Eddie Murphy, Red too, but
Red Fox kind of started, molded all them.
You know
Because
what it
Red
was?
Fox was the guy that kind of.
It was, and
Yeah.
Richard Pryor was a dirty version of Red Fox. So that's what he used,
It was
was
a-
swearing.
No, that's
talking
what
about
it
going
was.
to the bathroom and
What was
stage
the
and
movie
stuff.
that they were all in together and it was just I
Harlem
remember-
Nights.
and they were playing poker. There was
Harlem
just nothing
Nights?
but filth. It
Yeah.
was just that was it. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then even Chris Rock, there was like right down the line, each guy loved the last, and they were like, they were all, when Eddie and Chris Rock were loving Richard Pryor, you know what I mean?
No, but the one movie and I love Eddie Murphy and I love Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2. 3 was terrible, but I love 1 and 2. But my favorite movie is Coming to America.
3 was so bad I forgot it.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Coming to America when Eddie can play different people. Like when,
Speaking of comedians,
Yeah.
like, what do you think about Kevin Hart? Like, I love Kevin Hart. He's a great guy. I think he's a great comedian.
You
Like,
probably just mentioned the 5th one down the line.
yeah,
Seriously.
he's probably the next
That's
one.
the
He's-
next one.
He's
Yeah.
more lovable and cute than all the rest, but he's funny. But he does the same kind of things.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. What was the
Yeah.
one? He just came out. What's the movie with Ice Cube or whatever?
Training Day
Drive
or
along.
Tag along, Ride Along.
Ride along, yeah.
Ride Along.
When he was
Yeah.
sitting
Got
there,
it.
Ride
Yeah,
Along,
yeah,
Ride
yeah,
Along.
Ride Along.
When he
Yeah.
started screaming, did you see that movie?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
good. It was good
When
because
he
he was
started-
dating the sister.
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
He
And he's-
took him
but he's-
along for a day, to see how everything works when you're a cop and stuff. And
But when he
Yeah.
starts screaming about the Denzel line, he goes, King Kong, don't have anything on me. he's like 4 feet tall.
You know, it was really
Yeah.
funny
Oh my
though.
God, that was the
The
funniest
funniest
thing.
part of that movie is
Yeah.
when he shot the gun and hit the wall, and then he was talking about what happened to him. he peed himself and stuff, and stuff went in the wrong places.
now he's a star. It took a while for him to get big, but he's an A-list star now.
Oh yeah,
so,
no, I mean he's coming out with that movie with Will Ferrell now, and
Oh,
I
I'm
actually
gonna
think
check that
he's
out.
actually
Oh, yeah.
Kevin Hart, your
more
favorite?
of a star.
Is Kevin Hart your favorite of the bunch that
Yeah.
you spoke of?
Yeah.
So you were born probably like 99?
Close, 1989. Yeah, yeah.
That's not. Yeah. See.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta go watch Eddie in the earlier days because
Yeah,
I know
I'm
he's
gonna
taking a
check
lot.
it out.
But he's supposed to be doing another Beverly Hills Cop.
Is he really?
Yeah.
It's gonna be Beverly Hills flop.
No, I think they're gonna do this one all right.
You don't know that.
I love
though.
48
You know,
Hours.
It's like saying that's what I thought about Jaws
Eddie
4.
Murphy, remember,
you
you
know?
see that
Jaws
one?
4 was god awful.
I
didn't
know,
even
but
there
they
was a
should have
Jaws
done it
4.
right by then, you know?
They should have done
Jaws
it. Yeah.
3 should have been done right.
Jaws 3 was
Yeah.
okay.
Rocky 5 should have been done right.
Rocky 5 was
Yeah.
pretty good.
The Godfather
best
could have been
Rockies
done
were-
better too.
Probably clever.
Godfather
than
3
4,
was disgusting.
you know?
No, I think Rocky.
Rocky 1 and 2 were
really
drawn
good.
out, but they were classics.
Clubber Lang was awesome because
That-
you had Mr. T.
Right, you had Survivor doing Eye of the Tiger. They had
And
the best
then you
song
had
of all
Burning
time.
Heart. You had them
That
against.
came in with Drago.
Yeah, so that was a
Viva
great one.
Drago, I must bring you.
And then you had 5, which really wasn't about boxing. But you had 5 that really wasn't about boxing because he was trying to train him. So it wasn't. I wasn't where a
Hey,
lot
wait,
of people
doesn't
want
this dude look like Ivan Drago a little bit? Does he?
I
Drago.
must break you.
Yeah.
And then part 6 I loved because then he kind of lost everything and then he came back. I like 6. Did you like 6?
No,
That
it
was
was
with
too
Tommy
fake.
Gunn.
No, it was.
That 6 was Tommy Gunn, or was that 5?
That was
6.
5.
Yeah.
6. I thought the Russian one was 5.
That was 4.
That was 4?
Yeah.
And then
all
5
right,
was Tommy
5.
Gunn.
So that's the last
And
one.
then the last, no, then we had Rocky Balboa where he
Oh,
got,
yeah.
The bottom
yeah,
line is
yeah,
certain
yeah.
movies you got to leave
Yeah.
alone. In Rocky, you could get a few out of it, but you can't. It's hard to squeeze. Like,
Yeah, but
imagine if he tries to do another one.
he is. But it's
No, but now the growth hormone made his nose this much longer.
Yeah,
He
but
doesn't even look like him anymore.
now he's training because this one's going to be called Creed. It's a spin-off. So this is a spin-off. He's going to train Apollo Creed's grandson, I believe. So that's what it is. He's gonna train. So it's going back almost to the essence of the first.
Well, they'll make millions on it, but it could still be a flop.
It could be a flop,
Like
but
Die Hard.
yeah, I mean they just went their way.
Die
The
Hard
first
was
two were
phenomenal.
good. Yeah, the second one was
The
all
second
right.
one was good, yeah.
I didn't mind the one with Samuel L. Jackson.
They're all good because they put so much money into them, and if you haven't seen the first one, you're gonna like the last one. But when you except for Jaws, when they started doing all the weird stuff and the revenge and all that stuff.
I didn't like the last Die Hard. I could live with the one with the cyber terrorist. I think that was 4, but I don't know.
Or like, you know, what was a good one that did good on most of them? Lethal Weapon.
Lethal Weapon was good,
still
except
worked.
for 4.
Yeah.
Same thing. By the last time, you're squeezing too much juice out of the lemon.
Yeah, but then it's already made that you're going to go see them because you want to see where the characters kind of
Right, so they made
you
their
know, end
money.
up, and they want to do all that stuff. They made their money,
yeah.
of it, and 1 and 2 made tons of money. 3 made good money, and it's like,
How many more Hunger Games is there going to be?
probably till they say,
One
you know
more,
what?
right?
Yeah, I think there's
How
one
more
more,
Star
but
Wars
they'll probably
can there
do
be?
like a
Only one,
prequel
right?
or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
If it's
they
making
keep
money,
building
they're
them
not
up.
gonna,
Yeah.
they're never gonna go.
And Chucky's a perfect example, even though that's horror.
Oh.
Yeah.
But they
Yeah.
keep dragging out those films. They
Keeping
just
them
won't
out.
let Chucky die.
But the last one was
No,
actually
no.
pretty good. Out of all of them, the last one wasn't bad.
You
I
saw it?
I
You
did.
stooped that low?
I got it on Blu-ray.
Oh,
I
man.
didn't see it in the theater, but they
Wow.
said it.
Charles Lee Ray. They were my Blu-ray.
It wasn't bad. It was actually a really good movie.
My kid's still afraid of Chucky. And before he even knew who Chucky was, I think he just saw a clip of Chucky. He didn't see the whole movie. He was only like 5 or 6 years old. And if he was like in the basement, he wouldn't come upstairs. Like, hey, Kyle, get up here. And I go, Chucky! He used to scream so loud. And now his older brother still does it to him out in the woods or something. He comes flying, screaming.
Chucky.
He's 12. He still screams when you yell
Oh,
Chucky.
that's funny.
Are you a Chucky fan?
You know what? I like the films.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't really scare me, but I'll tell you, Candyman did. I remember I was like 7 years old. My cousin told me Candyman was under the bed. You better believe I didn't go in that room.
Yeah.
My mom came home. She was like, Ozzie, why are you up?
Yeah.
Well, she calls me OZ, but
Yeah.
she's like, why
That's
are you
pretty
still
cool.
up? I was like, Mom,
That's pretty
Candyman's underneath the bed. Erica told me. I was like, I'm not going in there. She was like, look, there's no Candyman. I was like, are you sure? And then she had to just talk to me for several minutes, and then I calmed down with the bed. But I'll never forget
She
that.
should have changed it for you, like to turn into another character, like Candyman.
Yeah.
You never live in color. Remember Handyman?
All right, let's get busy.
Everyone laughed when you saw Handyman because he used to help everybody.
Yeah.
Remember when they broke into the March of Dimes and stole all their dimes?
It's terrible.
That was a good one.
Oh, now, yeah, but the only thing about Chucky was Chucky could make you laugh. That was the one thing about Chucky. Cause
Not the first one. Wasn't nothing funny
I don't know,
about
when
that.
a doll starts
The first-
saying the F-bomb,
No, but
I mean,
the first,
it's kind of
no,
funny.
but you laughed, but you were like scared. Like you got scared of having a doll wake up with big eyes and swear at you. The first time she dropped the doll and it rolled under the couch, it was the scariest part of the movie because he just rolled really quick. And that was it. You're like, did you see that doll roll under the couch?
Yeah, but we saw that in Poltergeist.
The doll rolled under the couch?
No, but you had the clown with the big arms. It kept. I mean, you saw that, coming, and Chucky technically lives in Connecticut because they live at the.
You mean Charles Lee Ray?
No, not that one because that's just fake. But I mean, the Annabelle doll is in essence where Chucky came from.
No.
Yeah.
I want to go back to Chucky. I
Is
want
that based on
Annabelle.
a true story, Annabelle? I
Annabelle
watched
is.
the movie.
Yeah. Annabelle is. It's. I mean, they put a lot of Hollywood into it, but
Okay.
but the actual Annabelle doll is in Connecticut. You can go to the Warrens Museum and see the
I won't
doll.
be going there.
They have
I'm
it.
not
they,
going there either.
They have it behind glass. They
Even
claim
on Halloween.
They did claim that one guy that left the museum, I guess, went into the glass, like touched it, and the guy died, like I think right outside the house or whatever. He drove away on his
It
motorcycle.
was just a coincidence.
Oh, wow.
It probably was just a coincidence, but
A scary
they
one.
say
He
don't
must have
touch
thought
it. It says
that was
don't
supposed to
touch
die.
anything, don't
Yeah.
touch it, don't touch the
Wow.
glass or something like that. But that's what the rumor is. I don't know.
Oh, man,
But,
that's scary.
I mean, the
stuff.
Warrens have seen some crazy stuff, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Scariest movie for me was The Exorcist.
Yeah,
I left halfway through it. I couldn't take it.
really.
Yeah, I was up in Maine somewhere. way out in the woods, and we were watching it at some movie theater. I didn't even know where the hell I was, and I ran out of the theater. I was more scared when I got out of there than I was in there.
Well, at least you didn't wet yourself, so that's
I remember that too.
No. But The Exorcist
That was a scary movie.
No, but I didn't see it when it came out. My father used to take me all the movies on the weekends.
Yeah.
And I was seeing an even worse movie for a kid to see, Deliverance, because I had to watch it like this. He was like covering my eyes like this. Dad, what's happening? What's that? What's a pig squealing? But then,
baby.
right, but then in the beginning of the movie, they had all the previews for other movies.
Yeah.
And one of them was The Exorcist.
Yeah.
And I saw some guy up in the window, and his eyes rolled in the back of his head. And it was showing the white eyes in someone's. I never saw white eyes before in a human. I was like, and I had bad dreams about that forever, just from a quick little shot of The Exorcist. Never mind the whole movie.
Yeah.
And my dad took me to some good ones, Clockwork Orange, Deliverance, and I had to watch these movies with hands over my eyes half the time. Finally I watched them when I was an adult. I was like, oh, that's why.
He still put his hands over his eyes. What are you doing?
I put my hands over my own eyes. Pointing at Beatty.
Squeal like a pig.
Yeah, and how about
That was pretty bad.
That was pretty
Burt
bad.
Reynolds when his leg broke through?
Oh,
Which one?
yeah.
Burt Reynolds in
Snapped right
Deliverance.
through his
Oh,
leg.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty nice.
Nasty stuff.
That was.
That was a nasty movie because you know what it was? It all creeped up on you.
Oh, that one did,
That's one thing about movies. That's what makes you more scared than anything else. You don't expect it, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, what do I do
I know
now?
the guys without no teeth up there trying to kill you.
Yeah.
Not as bad as Wrong Turn though. Did you ever see that one?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
That was
a good
movie.
movie.
I
And
saw
that's
that.
another one they've drawn out, but yeah, they have a bunch of them now.
I saw like the fourth one by accident. I was like, that's what they did to this movie by now. I was like, the first one though, I watched in the middle of the night. I didn't see it in the movie theater.
Yeah.
And I was just like, couldn't sleep one night. I turned the TV on. And there's this movie. They take a wrong turn.
Yeah.
I stayed up till like 5 watching it. I was like, I had this terrible feeling in the pit of my stomach for like a day after seeing that.
Yeah. No, the
That was
first
a good
one was really good.
If they can produce and make a movie that good, and you feel that grossed out or that like uptight about what you saw,
Yeah.
it's the real deal.
I don't know if any of you guys saw Blair Witch.
No, I
Blair
didn't
Witch.
watch
Yeah.
it. I heard of
Don't
it.
even
That's the
bother.
fakest thing I've ever seen.
I was so mad at that movie because everybody was talking. It was a big hype,
Wiggle the camera, rustle some leaves,
Yeah, it was
spin
terrible.
really quick,
It was
wiggle
like,
the
it
camera.
was the worst movie I ever saw. I thought I put the wrong thing. I was like, no, it's with the PG edition on or whatever. And I'm like going through the thing, and I'm like, that was it. I was like, that's the movie.
Wow, that's
How was
wild.
Paranormal? The Activity? Did you see that one?
I never saw
Almost
the
as
first
bad
one.
as Blair Witch in a way.
I saw
Okay.
part 2, and the only thing about part 2 is it was funny because we were in the theater, and I like said to my kids, I'm like sitting there, I was like, I feel like I'm an ADT worker because all you're seeing is through the cameras in the
Monitoring
house.
people.
Yeah, you just see everything's in the. I was like, and
And you're probably better than an ADT worker because that's a bunch of bunk and they only really check you once in a while.
oh, they only check you if some alarm goes off or something
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, and then at one point I made a comment
It's
because
not like Ving Rhames
the lady
is really
that they.
watching your house.
That's true. He's right out there.
Changing the channel.
Listen, nobody's coming in the house. If Ving rings, it's outside your house. Nobody's coming in your house. 'Cause
Only
that's
if he was
Don't worry about
in
it.
Pulp Fiction, I'd be more.
the gimp.
Yeah, what
the
they
gimp
did
was
to him.
behind him. Oh.
Yeah, Zed is dead.
Yeah. Do you ever have the
Trying
red
to get
ball muzzle?
medieval.
Medieval.
Yeah, that was
I get
awesome.
Moody if I'm gonna get some screwdrivers.
I almost wore that T-shirt
Why?
tonight.
Medieval?
No, Pulp Fiction with Samuel L. Jackson on the front. It said,
Oh, I saw that.
"What did you say?"
What?
Oh
Oh yeah.
Oh.
That was a great movie. Quentin
Yeah.
Tarantino. That was awesome.
That was.
I just watched a clip of Quentin Tarantino flipping out on somebody that was giving him an interview because he kept asking him the same question over and over, and Quentin already answered it like 3
Yeah.
times. By the 4th time, he just let him have it. This poor guy in the interview.
Oh.
Was he trying to like dodge the question? Because like that's one of the things they teach journalists to do. Like if you don't get a certain answer you want, rephrase the question and
No, he
constantly
did.
come back
Quentin's
to.
too smart for that.
Oh,
Not
wow.
too smart, but maybe he wanted to get him to flip out, you know, because
Yeah.
sometimes that gets you
Yeah,
better
that's good,
ratings.
too.
Yeah, that's
You
what
get-
you
you
want.
can
If
ma-
you
you
can
can
get
make-
somebody to go off, I mean,
Yeah,
that's
you
his
can get
thing.
Tom Cruise to grab the camera and you spit on him or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I saw that one too. Somebody squirted water on him. He goes, after a nice little
I
interview.
saw that,
He
yeah.
goes, "Would you do that?" You know, it was like took him by surprise. But Quentin didn't get taken by surprise. He was like kind of waiting for it the whole time. Then he finally blew up on him.
Just like that. to squirt water.
He's a violent guy.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like he's all there.
I don't think I would have a job if that was
He's
me,
not
if I was
violent.
that
He just
journalist.
loves the violence.
That's it.
Maybe
Gotta
he's
watch
violent.
out.
I don't know.
What about Jim Rome when he got?
Was Chrissy Everett?
Yeah.
He deserved it.
No, he did deserve it.
Yes.
Jim Effort.
Jim
It was almost like he was
Quarterback.
doing something
Yeah.
not that
Quarterback, yeah.
difficult. It's like, is that really that hard to do? Is say that to him 3 times because you know he's gonna.
On the third
Stand
time,
up.
get up. The
And
only
then-
thing is when he got up, he was like, he's held Jim Everett's like 6'5".
Yeah.
Jim
Yeah.
Rome's like 5'5". You can tell
Yeah,
the
he
difference.
was
All of a sudden, I was
5'5".
like, whoa, what the heck is going
And
on?
then he
here?
ran.
Yeah.
Yeah. No way.
Who's the Chrissy now?
Oh, they showed him who Christie was.
That's right.
And then the other guy, Ryan Leaf, went nuts on that reporter too. Remember
And then
that?
Junior
Junior
grabbed him.
Seau grabbed him. Yeah.
Junior
Yeah.
Seau shoved him out of the way.
I don't know.
Do you know who the
Yeah,
F you're
crazy
talking
stuff.
to?
Yeah, right.
I told you about that with Dennis Erickson too, right?
No, he might have.
My brother's
Say it again.
roommate. My brother's roommate was Dennis Erickson's son. Dennis Erickson was coaching the Seahawks. Ryan Leaf was going to Washington State. He's sitting on the 55-yard line after a workout, and Erickson comes out with some Seahawks, and he goes, "You got to get off the field." And he didn't know who it was. And Ryan Leaf turns around and says, "Do you know who you're talking to?" Because he's getting ready for the NFL draft. Like he was
Yeah.
a big shot.
Oh,
Yeah, we found out who he was talking to.
yeah.
But you know what? That's nothing compared to what Michael Grimes did. I'm not sure if you guys know who Michael Grimes is. I think he actually got reelected. He's a congressman from New York, I believe. And last year, I believe it was like the early part of last year, he said to some reporter that asked him a question he didn't want to answer, he was
Yeah.
like, "Do you know who I am? I will break you like you're a little boy." And like they was actually recording the conversation.
Oh, that was kind of. Yeah, I think I remember seeing that. Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, wow. And then the guy was like, he looked so timid, and he's like, "Why are you just like talking to me like this?" And he was like, "Yeah, do you know who you're talking to?" I was like, "Oh, I couldn't have been that
Oh
journalist."
no, that's what.
Ooh, I would have let him have it.
Oh,
Really?
exactly.
Yeah,
What
I
would you do to him?
Oh, I would have told him, "Let's go outside."
That was
Like,
perfect.
oh.
Keep the camera rolling.
We're putting this on YouTube.
Yeah,
I
we're
need some
gonna-
hits.
We're gonna get this. We're gonna get this.
Follow
this
me.
is going viral by tomorrow.
Nowadays, yeah.
Oh, that is,
Talk about viral. You can't do
Yeah.
anything to anybody, anywhere, anytime.
no, everything's
Nah,
on
they're
camera now.
yeah, no.
No.
They were just saying that the other night, that there won't even be like massive serial killers anymore. Where there probably there will be, but they're gonna have to do it within like a 24-hour span or whatever, because
right.
they're gonna catch you. You know, eventually they're gonna get to you
Yeah.
and find you and all that stuff. So
What? They can't find ISIS.
they can find
Yeah.
ISIS. ISIS is right where they know they are.
And I believe they identified the leader, the guy who was beheading people.
Yeah, was it
No, they-
Jihad Joe or something?
I
Or
was
John?
just kidding
Jihad
about,
John.
about
Yeah.
finding ISIS. ISIS is so big now that it's like all of Iraq and part of Syria.
Well,
they
they
have rapidly
It's
been
crazy how big it actually is. The last time you brought that up,
They just got a guy in Brooklyn today. He was a former. He was a former
Yeah,
Air Force.
Former Air Force guy.
Yeah, and they just captured him
Mechanic.
because
Air
'cause
Force. It was an Air Force mechanic.
for
and-
Delta,
For Delta, yeah.
so he could screw
could've
up
done
the.
anything. Who
Yeah,
knows
I
what he
mean,
would've been
yeah,
able
this
to
plane
do.
is good to go. Don't worry about
Yeah.
that wrench in the works.
If you watch the current show on Channel 13 right now about ISIS, the uprising of ISIS, I learned an awful lot last night that I didn't know about.
You're not joining, are you?
Joining? It's nothing to join.
No, there really isn't. Any.
No, I mean it's not even that. It's like all the lost people from the wars needed something to do, and the right people collected the right people. They were breaking into prisons, taking everybody from every prison. They were joining 500 at a time, pretty much.
Yeah.
You should see how quick it grew into a real army,
Well, that.
and how much support they got from how many other different outside. And then they were taking over oil fields. They did everything just right to become even worse than Al Qaeda. Worse
Yeah,
Wow.
that's
That's
so
what-
true.
and bigger.
That is because they're actually. I mean, they're more savage and more barbaric than
And
Al
more
Qaeda.
organized, and more powerful, and more money.
Well, I think they're using the web too, because I know a lot of Facebook.
They're using
is,
all social
yeah,
media.
they're all
That's what I'm
out there.
saying. It's
Twitter.
orchestrated like.
Yeah, I know Twitter did something right against them.
Yeah, well, I'm not too quite sure about Twitter, but I actually wrote a piece for the AAPA, which is the American Amateur Press Association, and I talked about the uprising of ISIS. And I actually had submitted for Columbia when I applied, like writing samples. That was one of them. And like he was saying, social media, they're using it to promote their message. So
Okay.
you know, beheading people, they're doing that, and people are clicking on it to see what's happening. So that's, you know, giving them more courage to do what they want to, you know, because they know they have an audience. People are watching,
more
and
people.
they striking fear into people. The oil refineries, they're making like $2 million per day, and then like ISIS has grown over the last year. When I wrote the article, it was last year. So at that time, there was about like they had like 50,000 recruiters,
Right.
well, recruits, and it's been constantly growing. And like they are affiliated. Well, they were affiliated with Al Qaeda, but then they denounced them. Al Qaeda did last year.
Right.
But they're growing. Like it's a scary thing, you know.
Yeah, because I know, well, I know the Obama administration said that they're the JV team, but they really kind of went to the varsity all of a sudden.
Exactly.
You know, and
When did
and that's
Obama say that, back in 2011?
I think he said last year. It was last year when they
It's
started, when they
it's
first.
so much different right
No,
at this minute.
it's gone.
It could be 1 million strong. It's unbelievable.
No, that's a.
We
How
need
far-
troops on the ground. Like I think we're going to degrade ISIS. Like
They're not going to do it.
well, then we can't like weaken them because the airstrikes aren't really helping. They're helping to a certain extent, so I don't want to say they're not helping, but there's no way to degrade ISIS unless you get some type of troops. And if it's not U.S. troops, it has to be from one of the U.S. someone who the U.S. is working with. You
Right.
know.
Yeah.
Well, they say there's a 60 country coalition that are supposed to be joining us, but
Yeah.
nobody's really jumping on board with us, with the exception of Israel, and I know Poland always does. But with those two that are on board with us right now, it's like nobody else is doing it, and it's like if you're like you're saying. I mean, they've had attacked on Australia. They've been in the UK. So it's not just an American problem. This isn't something that we're just. I know Israel's.
Exactly.
They're right in the middle of everything. So they're
Yeah.
pretty much they got Al Qaeda on one side, they got ISIS on one side. So they're really looking for our help. But other than that, I mean, America, we're going to start seeing these attacks coming back to America. We're going to see another 9/11. I don't know when, but it seems like all of a sudden. I know they're saying Minnesota is a big recruiting ground in the in the United States. Minnesota is one of the.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Get that helmet out of here.
Well, this is a Wallingford Viking, so
That's
we can
right.
keep that there. That's not a Minnesota Viking, so we'll keep that there.
Not
But
the Minnesota Viking, no.
but that being said, these guys they're on our own turf right now, and they're trying to kill us, and we're not.
That's why I'm saying it could be reaching into the millions as far as sleeper cells and unofficial members and people that are interested in it. It's Islamic State. You know, they're trying to bring even more religious pull into it than Al Qaeda had.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, look at the two Boston terrorists how much damage they did with just a couple backpacks filled, and one of those didn't even really detonate the way it was supposed to, because they were saying that one of them, as much as it detonated, didn't do what was really made to do, because it had a lot of, I think, a bunch of those silver balls in it.
Some of the clusters fell off.
They did, yeah. No, so it could have been a lot more devastating than it actually was, and I don't know. And these are homegrown terrorists that we were actually supporting. The older brother was on welfare, so we were giving him money to fund his terrorist action. And it's like, wow.
What stinks is when you look at ISIS too, what they have for military power.
Yeah.
It's all our tanks and all our vehicles and weapons. It's like when you see what they're actually driving around in and stuff they took from the Iraq people that we set up.
Yeah.
It's nuts how much of it they have.
But you think we'd have like some kind of system, like if we have a tank out there or something, you think we would have some kind of
We don't.
A record
switch
keeping,
on it, though, at least, hey,
shut it down.
it can't work against us or whatever, it's like one of those things,
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, you're coming in, oh, let's flip the switch
Yeah,
and
we
it
don't
doesn't
need
work.
to have an airstrike. We'll just push this button. Boom.
Yeah.
There goes the tank.
There goes the tank, just blow it
You know
up.
what they should do is get Fury over there.
Nick Fury?
No, Fury, the tank movie with Brad Pitt. That was a good one.
I didn't see that one. I did get Exorcist
Wasn't
last
up for
night.
it.
They're
Academy
getting
Award.
the Panzers over in Germany.
I did get Exorcist last night.
So really,
That's a
this
good one.
is an interesting topic, Bill. What is the attraction?
I don't
What is
even
the
know.
attraction
You wrote the
ISIS
story.
for?
What do you think
What's
what do
the
you think the main attraction is right now? Because we're seeing kids not only from the UK that are leaving. I mean that kid that Jihad John was actually. He was like he was almost he was
prep kid,
great
wasn't
he
he?
was a great student. He was
Yeah.
had everything going for him, and he
Right.
just kind of I don't know, are they going off the deep end, or are they
Yeah, because like a lot of people, they're so entrenched into their religion, and they want everyone else to believe in. These people are like, radical Muslims. They're
Right.
extremists. But it's not, like, it's just sad, too, because they give people who are Muslim a bad name. And one of my friends is actually a Muslim as well. And she was talking about how, like, she has to deal with some of the stereotypes. And sometimes people think she's an extremist because of what they see going on and, everything that happened after 911.
Yeah.
So it's just sad, and they just want recognition. That's what I believe. And then they want to, spread their religion. And they also have murdered people who are Christians. So if you don't have their religious views, then you're also a target.
Well, they're not true
they beheaded
Muslims
those
the way that they're acting.
No, but they
not.
had those 21. They were Christians were beheaded over there because they wouldn't denounce
Exactly.
Jesus Christ. So yeah, they were lined up and killed. I think that they are, like you say, extremists to a fault. They're not. They're
But they're
really
giving the good people a bad name. It's a bad example because it's a sports reference, but just like the NFL, the 200 guys that are screwing up and doing something bad, or an Aaron Hernandez or a Ray Rice, you're forgetting about the 7,000 people that are doing good things for the community. Same thing with ISIS. Is there's people killing people that are claiming that they're with this religion, and this is what we're doing in the name of Allah, in the name of God, and it's really
So
not for every. It's not for the billion that aren't.
Is that what they're doing? They're denouncing Christianity.
if you don't denounce it, you get killed. I think they're going to kill you anyway because unless you jump on board with them, you're going to die. I think the greatest thing.
That's how people join out of fear.
Some probably are fearful. I think maybe they. I don't know. We really don't know how great this is of a cause they have. As far as pulling people in.
Yeah,
because it seems like it's really the draw
what's
is
the
there.
magnet? Yeah, what's
I
the
don't know, but
magnet that makes someone want to join?
I got my eyes open last night, is what I'm saying. I watched the show, and I watched it twice, and I got information I didn't know about, because I honestly don't pay close attention to things sometimes when it comes to something that serious. I just thought it was small groups doing terrible things to people. I didn't realize how monstrous this was, and how in like a year, in 12 months, what it turned into. From small to big to how far it got across.
Well, like you said,
all of
I don't
Iraq
think we
into
really
Syria.
know how big it is yet. I don't think we even have a gauge of that or where it's going. I
We
don't
don't
know.
have
It's
a
just
gauge,
still
but
rapidly
I got.
growing.
Yeah.
Use your
Oh, my
imagination
God.
That's
now, 'cause
exactly.
it's getting bigger.
No, it is getting bigger, and
I strongly suggest watching this program.
do you remember the name?
Just, if you look up, like, after you're done watching your shows on Channel 18, check out 13.
Well, I think that people don't, and that's the problem with a lot of society now, and we get caught up in watching these infomercials and, try to better ourselves, or we watch these, I can't even think of the Kardashian shows. I just want to say it, but and not the
reality TV.
No, reality TV is where I really want to say it.
You want to hide their head in there like an ostrich.
No, but we're not seeing what's
Ostrich,
going
there you
on.
go.
I want to hide my head in the Kardashian.
And it's okay. Like, those shows are good for releases because you do need those too. Because you want balance. You don't always want to be watching this stuff because life goes by and it is entertainment, and so you should be watching some of that. But I think that people really need to see what's going on too outside the world, in the world itself. I know in California they just had a big debate over they want to not put the American flag in an American school. They were out in California.
That's absurd.
That's absurd. And I think that if you come to this country, and I'm not saying if you're an embassy or something like that, you should be able to fly your flag on our country if you're an embassy, because we do that there, so it's only natural. I have no problem with that. But if you're a school in America, you should put our red, white, and blue up, and that's it. And that's exactly how I feel. I think that was crazy when I heard that. I also heard out it was Minnesota again, that they did not want to watch. They wouldn't show the American sniper out there because they said it was degrading to Muslims. Because
So they're taking over Minnesota, is what you're saying?
Minnesota's it's really like becoming almost like a terrorist cell out
I'm going
there.
to call my sister. She's out there. One
Wow.
of my sisters is Minnesota.
Well, you better tell her. It's probably all over there.
She'll probably tell me something I don't know, like what she's seen lately.
We'll have her on the show.
She'll fly out.
See, good. We'll have her.
Yeah,
It'll be a great show.
That's my crazy
Now,
sister.
The Minnesota
When you did
thing.
your little thesis, or it was a paper.
It was just a op-ed. So I basically was talking about how ISIS has expanded, how they were using social media for their propaganda, and how like what I thought needed to be done to degrade them. And that's why I was saying like troops on the ground. There needs to be that, you
Right.
know. And if it's not the U.S. Putting their own troops to fight, you know, on the battlefields, it needs to be one of the allies that the U.S. is working with, because no modern war has been won,
Right.
you know, without it. You know, you have to go in, you know, and
So
fight.
it's-
Because if you're doing just airstrikes, like, you're not going to be able to hit everyone.
No.
So it's just going to be ineffective at a certain point. So that was just some of the things that, like, I really touched on. But since I wrote it, so much has happened. You know, there was the 2 Japanese guys that were beheaded at the
Beheaded.
beginning of this year.
One was
you know.
burnt, yeah. One was
Yeah.
burnt alive,
Wow.
pretty much,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's plain.
I think I'd rather get beheaded than actually burnt alive.
Oh,
I have to
yeah.
say, you know, because you don't see it coming, at least in the back. But now, have you got any responses, any feedback from the stories that you've written? Or
No, you know what? I should have kept up more with it.
Yeah.
But I'll have to check into that as well. I didn't get too much feedback. I wrote it. They.
Did you ever think
posted
about
it.
putting that on? Oh, it's online right now, or did you?
I'm not sure if it's still online, but I initially created the samples because I needed it for Columbia, and I joined the AAPA just to, you know, work on my journalistic skills. So like writing is crucial, you know,
Yeah.
if you want to become a journalist. So that's why I joined. And while I was going through the whole admission process, I took a break, and I'm actually going to be writing more now.
Okay.
You know, so.
Yeah.
It's been a grueling process, but you know, you have to do what you have to do. Journalism is fast paced.
Right.
You know.
Absolutely.
It seems like anyone that's trying to get near them,
It's
they're just going to chop their head off.
yeah.
Anyone that's trying to find out more about what's going on, those are the ones that are getting it.
They're gonna
They
get
won't
it.
let- they
Individuals
won't-
or whole countries?
What's that?
They're just doing it to individuals, though.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right,
yeah.
but they're
I mean,
trying to
like he
represent
said, if you go
every-
in there with ground
They're
forces,
getting
at
a
least
little
you got
piece
a
of every
chance.
country just to
Well,
scare
it's just
all
to
the
scare all the
Right,
countries.
scare 'em
You know,
all
you have
off.
Japanese,
Yeah,
you have
don't-
the UK, you have Australia. All these people have been kind of they're on that watch now. They're like, hey,
Right.
we got to watch out for this. So
Another
So-
thing that I noticed or I learned last night was when we left Iraq, we said, you know, we helped you guys out. Now everything's on the right course. Everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And then within weeks from that speech that President Obama gave with the leader of Iraq here, it started to already turn. Like by the time he got back there, bad things were happening with mobs and crowds and unrest.
Yeah.
there's a power
And
struggle between the
But
divisions of
that's
the
where
people.
ISIS all started coming from.
Right.
There was
Right.
there's just like hordes of people with no direction, and they were just like, well, here's a direction. Come do this. Come do this. Come do this. And now that black ISIS flag is everywhere, over every crowd. There's some in every crowd, even if it's mostly, good people, which is hard to tell who's who now because it's all mixed together. That's the big problem.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a way harder time trying to find people or try to get, if we put ground troops down, trying to sort things out. Now it's going to be 10
gonna
times
hard to
harder
root
than
'em
it
out.
was.
It's going to be hard to find the ones that we really
Exactly.
want to get out
Right.
compared to the ones that,
And it's tough because I mean, all of us here, I don't think any of us want to see a young man or young woman go in there and lose their life for fighting a war. I mean, there's nothing worse than when you turn on TV and you see some serviceman that's 21, 22 years old
Right.
and just had passed away. And we were talking last week about it when they went down in the helicopter just in training missions.
Right.
It's as bad as that is. It's like, these people are sacrificing their lives for us and for our freedom and all that. And I think people need to really take that into consideration. When the kids nowadays need to see, I think we, as being older, we kind of always supported the veterans and always did that.
Right.
I know Vietnam kind of
Right.
changed people
Yeah.
started voicing their opinion a little more with Vietnam because it was a war we didn't win, but
Right.
it's just one of those things. I think we need to kind of focus on the people we need to take care of, and that's why we were talking about Veterans Day last week and
Yeah.
saying maybe, like a grassroots thing is people work on Veterans Day and donate their check instead of taking the day
That's right.
off,
Exactly.
work on Veterans Day
And-
and give it to the veterans that come home with, they don't have a
Right.
limb or anything, or maybe they
Right.
need to go, like you say, the post-stress that they go through.
Yeah.
Give them the counseling that they really do need
Exactly.
to kind of get
Right.
back, or give them job training, give them something,
Yeah.
do something for these people so they can get back to society. Because I think if they had their house and their kids and all that stuff around them, I think they'd kind of forget what they saw over there, or say, hey, I did it for them and not for a different reason or whatever. I just think that would be a better take on the whole thing.
And a little more nobility, too.
Absolutely.
You feel more proud that you did serve.
Right.
And a lot more people would respect the fact that you were willing to fight for our country. And whatever you did for us, whatever you sacrificed, was well appreciated.
Right.
And that might make other people realize, well, this is a good country to fight for. This country does stand behind you. This is what I might want to do for my career or for, a portion of my life.
Right.
And
and that's really a big step towards that.
A lot does need to be done more for veterans. Because you remember last year there was that whole debacle with the VA.
With the VA,
scandal, how they weren't seeing patients, and there was like this one guy too I remember hearing, but I can't remember his exact name. But he had cancer and he was like terminally ill.
Yeah.
But he could have lived a lot much longer, like 6 months longer than he was expected to live, but because he wasn't getting the treatment
that he
deserved, he died
absolutely
earlier. So
and there's really no, there are watchdogs, but there really aren't, because there's no, the people that are whistleblowing, they're kind of getting fired, so they're afraid to say anything.
Right.
And it's really for our troops, and that's what we want. We want to protect them, and we want to protect anybody that's, if they have a disability or something like that, then that's what, that's what's great about this country, because we're trying to help them. We don't want people to take advantage of those situations, but that's what's great about this country, because we're one of the most giving countries in this world. There's a lot of countries that wouldn't make it out there, and I just think that, we as the superpower, we're still showing that. And I know Russia is, with Putin there, there's always trouble with Russia. I don't know if you've seen him. He's,
that guy's corrupt.
He really is. He's a Cold War guy that he's still bitter that the wall was brought down and all that stuff. He's just an old KGB guy that wants to hates America, and I understand that's going to die hard with him. But I think that with Gorbachev and back in the day with Ronald Reagan, and you mentioned it's your boy Reagan, but back in the day with him, is you see these things that have happened over my lifespan at least, and I see that, and look how far we've come, and I hate to kind of lose ground now to ISIS and kind of lose ground to them.
Exactly.
I think we need to kind of focus on our studies. I'm not a big fan of Common Core with kids. I don't think that that's a good thing. I think that if a kid can achieve something greater, let them achieve something greater. I don't think that, this Common Core thing is, I understand everybody should have like a Common Core of where we're going with things, but, we have to kind of figure these things out and go from there. We're kind of 2 minutes down with the show here, so we only have 2 minutes left.
2 minutes left to go now.
Hey, I don't know, it's your first night. What'd you think?
It was a great show. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming on.
No problem.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So, we didn't even get our picks out or anything like that.
No, we could put a little picture of the Wallingford Vikings website up, because we can't ever leave that on the table.
We can't leave that on the table. But I'm gonna go with Wisconsin for the men, and I'll go with UConn with the women.
I'll take UConn and I'll take Maryland.
There you go.
Laugh it up.
I'll take UConn with the women, and I'll take Kentucky all the way. Give me that Kentucky bourbon.
Kentucky? Ooh, you're going way out on the limb. Oh.
Give me that Kentucky straight bourbon.
I'm going to definitely agree with John. I'm going to go with Kentucky. Because Obama, that's my main man, even though sometimes I don't agree with his policies, but that's my role model. So
all right.
Obama phone.
And then I'm also going to go with UConn because I'm a former Husky. Well, I'll always be a Husky.
There we go.
Can't mess with the Goyles.
Everybody, thanks again for joining in. We'd like to thank you very much for coming on and joining us today. It's been a great debate. And we'll talk soon. We'll see you next week. Everybody have a safe weekend.
Vikings.
There we go. The Vikings coming up.
The Vikings of Wallingford.